What you guys, got another video here for you. In this one we're going to be taking a look at some of the settings that you should be disabling inside your Windows 10, or the ones if you want to disable them you can do. You can use this as a guide. These are the ones I'm going to be disabling on a fresh install on this Windows 10 Creators Update. So this is for your Creators Update version. So let's go into the settings here first and start off. So we're going to start up the top left hand side in System. I'm going to be going through these pretty quickly so you can sort of stop and slow down and pause. But we're going to go into Notifications area here. Now you can see get notifications from apps and other senders. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to disable that. And also you can, the beauty of these is you can enable them if you're having problems or you want to re-enable. So we're not making any major changes here, okay? Show me the Windows welcome experience after updates. I don't want that either, and I don't need that one. So we've turned those off. Moving on down to power, going to come over to the additional power settings here, and we're going to be using high performance here. Now if you're using a laptop you may want to use balanced here, but I'm going to be using a desktop, so it's set to high performance. Now these are your snap area for your snap on windows when you snap them to the left and snap them to the right, so I'm leaving them alone. Shared experiences, I'm going to leave this off. If this was on I would leave that off, and also remote I would leave that off. If it was on, turn it off, okay? And that's what I would do inside the system. Inside devices we're going to come down here. I'm going to leave the first two, don't need to worry about those. Type in. Again, here is a selection that you can make changes to. The top two, if you're like me, pretty bad spelling, I'm going to leave those on. But these ones I have no use for, so I'm going to turn those off. And remember, you can turn these back on if you wish. So I don't need to worry about this area either, so I'm going to turn those off. Autoplay, use autoplay on all media devices. You can leave this on if you wish. I'm going to turn that off. Okay, so I'm going to go back, and that's devices. Phone we don't need to worry about, we don't need to touch that. Network and internet we're going to go into there next. And what we're going to do here is go into the Wi-Fi settings. Now if you are using a Wi-Fi settings, you may want to take note of some of the connections here. Now if you're not using hotspots you may want to disable that feature right there, and you can see here find paid plans, suggested hotspots near me. I don't want that either, so we're going to close those off there. And of course you can make more changes inside here if you're using Wi-Fi, but these are the ones that mainly that I'm going to be turning off. So on Ethernet, pretty much leaving that as is. Dial-up, VPN. I'm not going to be using the VPN for the Windows 10. If I've got my own VPN, I would use that. If you've got software you're using for VPN, then you can use that. You don't need to have this on to use that. Airplane mode, we don't need to worry about that. Mobile hotspots, turn on remotely, I don't want that. And also data usage, it gives you just some information, and proxy we can leave those settings alone. So we're going to come out of here. That's your network and internet. Personalization, you can come into here and have a look. Taskbar, background, let's have a look here for taskbar. Everything else seems okay here. Need to activate to make changes here, but if I was inside the taskbar here, just go through here if you're activated and look for things that you want to disable if you're not quite happy with them. You can see here, look, replace command prompt with Windows PowerShell. If you want to change those you can do and change them around, that's fine. And I'm just going to come down and have a quick look at some of these other ones. Now the people section here, if you want to turn those off you can do. I would turn all this stuff off. People, I don't use that feature, so that's the bit I would be turning these off. And that's pretty much it inside the personalization area. Inside your apps and features, I'm going to come into here And you can see a load of stuff in here. Get Office we don't need. I've already got Office installed, which I will be installing, so I can uninstall that. And any type of app here that you don't want, you can remove. Now you're probably going to see a bunch of other rubbish inside here, like games and stuff that you don't want. You can remove a lot of that stuff. Okay, so anything you don't want here, you can uninstall. Now OneDrive, if you're not using OneDrive, you can uninstall OneDrive and just let that do its thing. People, again, if you're not using it and you want to uninstall it, you need to go through another avenue to remove this. Okay, you can't remove it in this manner. So we're going to go to default apps here, and again you can change your default apps here to whatever you need. Offline maps, I don't use offline maps. If you do use maps, then keep hold of them. I'm going to delete all the maps because I don't use them, and also I don't want map updates, so I'm going to turn that off also. Now if you do use the maps, then you can use these on. Okay, leave these on and use these maps, but I don't use them. So association apps with websites, if you want to leave that on, you can do. Groove music, I don't really particularly use that feature, so I'm going to come on to video play, and that's okay, that's all done. So we're going to move on now to accounts. We don't need anything inside accounts. Time and language here, we don't particularly need. I'll go into here just to check. Well, there's a couple of areas in here that we need. Okay, set time automatically, that's fine. Region, that's fine. And that's also fine. Gaming is another area. Now also in your gaming area here, if you're using these, then leave these on. If you're using these particular types of features, I don't particularly want these on, so I'm going to be turning these off. But if you do use these features, then leave them on. I don't do broadcasting, and also game mode is not on. That's definitely going to go off. And let me just try that apps there. I think default apps. Let me just see there. Offline, okay, we did okay there. Okay, so we're moving on to ease of access now. This is another area where we want to turn features on and off. So we're going to look here. This is off for these ones. Just scrolling through these to see if there's anything here that I would turn off. Keyboard, mouse, that's okay. Other options. Play animations in Windows, I don't want that. Okay, we're going to come out of here. Going into Cortana now. Now there is a way of disabling Cortana inside your settings here in your registry and stuff like that, and I've already covered that, but I can cover that again if you want to. But I'm going to be turning off Cortana here. Okay, I don't want Cortana running, but if you do want it running, then by all means leave on, but I'm definitely turning that off. And lock screen settings here, let's see. Okay, some of these areas here, I'm just going to turn these off. Now again, in the start area here, I'd need to activate Windows to do these. Taskbar, same thing. Notification area, show notifications. People, we've done these ones. Okay, so we've done Cortana here. Now if you are going to be doing that properly, you want to do that in group policy. Also privacy here, this is another area where we want to change. So in the general tab here, advertising ID, I don't want that on. Also okay, I don't want any of these on. Moving down to location service, I don't need running. and this will turn off all this stuff here. Now if you do want some of these stuff, you can do leave these on and select what you want here, but I'm turning all that stuff off. Camera, I have no use for that. You can still use your camera. This is the thing that people get confused with. Even with this off, you can still use a camera with camera software. You don't need to have this running, and this will give you just more feedback to Microsoft. So I'm just going to be turning off all this stuff here. Okay, notifications, don't need to be notified of anything. This is a real big area here, and this is where we want to turn off speech services. So we're going to turn this off. We definitely want to do that, so turn that off. Definitely turn that off. Okay, so we're moving on. So this is a real big area right there. So count information, I don't need to worry about that, so that's going off. As you can see, a lot of this stuff is going off, and that's because we don't need to have it on. It's just really sort of, unless you're using these features, then I have no reasons for it. So let apps access my contacts. Unless you are using these features like people and stuff like that, then yeah, leave it on. But if you have no use for it, then just turn them off. And I don't use that particularly type of feature there. Calendar, I have no use for people. Again, it's the same thing. This is a new people thing that you'll see down here, and you can remove that as well. And here we can see call history. I have no use for that. Email, I have no use for the email here. I'll be using my own email client. And we're going to turn these off. Messaging, same thing. Radio, don't want any of that stuff on. Other devices. Now, okay, you can see here, look, let apps automatically share and sync info with wireless devices. You can leave this on if you wanted to, but I'm not really sort of using this, because as you can see here, TVs, projectors and stuff like that, if you do want to leave this on, you can do. I have no use for that. Now the feedback and diagnostics, this is another big area where you want to make sure that you're turning this stuff off. Okay, so basic, that's as far as you're going to get with that. We want to turn that off automatically, and you can set that to never. That's those ones done. Move on to the background apps. That's as good as you're going to get that right there. And then you do some settings in your services. That's gone closed. Okay, let's go back here. That's shut down for some reason. Background apps. Okay, so our background apps, and you can see here, you can either turn these off or turn them on. So there's nothing set in stone here. We can always make changes. So background apps here, you may want to make some changes here. I would definitely leave Windows Defender on if you're using Windows Defender. If you're not, you can completely turn them all these off. Store, I'd leave on. So in my personal opinion, if you're not using weather, you can turn it off. Voice recorder, I would just leave the Windows Store on, just in case you're using that. If you're using Skype, you may want to keep that background app running. If you're not, settings, I'm going to leave open here. And again, any of this stuff here, I would just turn off. Paid Wi-Fi, Microsoft Edge, I'll leave on. Maps we don't use. Mail. So any of these that you are using, just leave them on. Okay. Now you could turn them off, as I said, turn all off. But if you just want to leave a couple on, like Microsoft Edge, settings, and also your store and your Windows Defender, if you're not using them, then turn them off. Simple as. App diagnostics, we don't want to get involved in any of that stuff. And also, you can see here, automatic file downloads, that's not on. So we're going to come back here. That's your privacy area, and also update and security. We're going to move into here. So let's go into the advanced options on Windows Update. And you can see we've got some options open. The delivery optimization, go into here, and you can see it's set to allow downloads from other PCs. We don't want that because that means it's going to use other PCs, and we don't want to do that. So again, we've got some other areas inside here where you can limit the download bandwidth for your downloads. If you want to do that, you can do. If it's a little bit too much for you and you're a gamer and stuff, you may want to turn these down and stuff like that. You can see upload settings. You can limit all this stuff. Monthly upload limit. You can set it all out in here if you wanted to. Okay, depends on what you want to do there. But you can see this is the main one really. Turn that feature off there. And let's just have a quick look into here as well. Okay, there's nothing there. So there are your features right there that you want to set in your updates. Defender we'll cover in another area. We don't need to worry about that because we are using that, so we're going to leave that as is. Backup area, troubleshoot, we haven't got to worry about there. Recovery, again, we're not worrying about that too much. Activation, we haven't got that done yet. That's fine. Developers and inside a program, and they are your main settings on the settings page here. Now also inside here you've got your usual stuff like hide items. I'm going to come into here and also go into view. I'm going to show hidden files, folders and drives, and I also want to take the hide extensions out for known file types. Down here, if you look here, you'll see show sync provider notifications. Get rid of that as well. Apply that and OK. So let's just quickly deal with that Cortana. So if you're in Windows 10 Pro, you can see we still got Cortana popping up here. I want to get rid of that completely. So we're just going to go to GP Edit and open up the group policy editor here. I'm just going to quickly go down to where it says computer configuration, administrative templates, Windows components, and then we can pull down here, and there's a bunch of stuff that I normally mess around with inside here, but just for this one we're going to come down to search, and you can see here allow Cortana on here, and you can see here disabled. I'm going to disable that one, and also allow Cortana. I'm going to disable that one too. Also allow search of Cortana in the use area. We don't want that either. I'm going to disable that. There we go. So we can close that off. Just going to quickly go to run here and set that in stone. And this will just update that policy. There we go. So that's now done. When we restart the system, that will all be gone. So I quickly restarted the system, and as you can see now we've got Cortana completely off our system. That's gone. She's not going to be running. So another area which we can take a look at, I'll just quickly go into services here and try and cover a couple of these for you. I'm not going to do a whole load because this video is already becoming quite long. So what we're going to do here is come down here. Just going to do a couple of these main key ones here. So these are all in numerical order here. So we're just going to come down and delivery optimization. Click on this one. And we're going to disable this one. and then we could just keep coming down here, look for this one here. I'm going to disable that one. And then there's one there, and this is the connect users experience and telemetry. We want to stop that, and then we want to disable and apply an OK on that one. So we've got some others here. You can go ahead and do whatever you want. So you got the diagnostic policy service here. As you can see, this is basically problem detection, troubleshooting and resolution for Windows components. So this will not function if you disable anything like this, but depends on how far you want to go with some of this stuff here, because there's plenty in here that you can disable if you want to. But I don't want to go too heavy into this because I'm going to make this a separate type of video, like remote registry disabled and some other stuff like that. So it depends on how far you want to go with it, but again, I think I've covered enough in here. All this Xbox stuff, I've got no use for this, so I would definitely disable that, and just go ahead and I would disable all these. But just use your common sense. If something stops working that you want it to work, then obviously you've disabled something that you shouldn't be disabling, and of course you would then have to re-enable that thing there. You can see they've made this, the monitoring part, they've stopped you from disabling this. So let me just quickly put this on disabled. There we go, and I may be able to do this one now. Just try. Now, it doesn't like you doing this one for some reason, as you can see here. So anyway, let me just close that off. Windows search here. There's loads of other ones inside here that you can mess around with. Anyway, I think that will be enough for this video. I'll cover this in another video, but that's basically all the settings which I would make changes for in the creative update for Windows 10. Anyway, I hope this one helps you out. It's been a bit of a long one. My name is Brian from briteccomputers.co.uk. Now, if you haven't subscribed yet, you can go to my main YouTube channel here, click on the red subscribe button, and also what's really important is hit that bell notification button, and this will notify you when I upload new videos. Thanks again for watching, guys. Bye for now.